Coming up today on That LTD Life, get ready to win. This is a new lifetime deal, WIIN.io, available from AppSumo. Now, what exactly is WIN? That is a real question, and it's still a little bit unclear, but I'm going to do my best to help you understand this tool. Now, I will mention that AppSumo kind of registers it as a form builder, which is one interesting way to think of it. And if you read the copy, it's a customizable client portal. So which is it? Kind of neither. I'm going to show you in this video. My name is Dave and I review lifetime deals every single day of the week. This review is not sponsored. I'm going to be giving you my honest opinion. If you want to support my content, I've got my AppSumo affiliate link in the description. You can click that before you make a purchase at AppSumo. It could be for WIN, it could be for anything else, and it helps me to keep the lights on around here. All right, let's get into WIN. I'm gonna help you understand exactly whether or not this is a good fit for your business. All right, we're gonna start off by looking at the plans and pricing here. $59, a one-time payment, gets you lifetime access. Now we'll look at the tiers down here. There are 3 options available, but let's start off by what's available in all of the plans. So we get unlimited everything here, really. Well, not unlimited users, but essentially we're gonna get unlimited forms. That's what they call submissions. Programs, that's what they call contests, or the language here is probably the hardest thing to get over. Let me give you a little bit of a backstory here. So the tool itself is French. The developers are French. A lot of their YouTube videos explaining the tool is in French, and a lot of the language that has been, I suppose, translated from French to English, they didn't choose the best words to make the translation. So that's why understanding it can be a little bit tricky. So a program is basically like a contest or an application, maybe an overall like portal that someone would be entering in providing information. And of course, we can add as many questions and steps through that process as we need. They've got direct integration with Zapier, lots of history and logging, and you can receive files. We can create our own subdomain here, but only your own custom domain on tier 3. So that's an important distinction. You'll be able to import submissions via CSV. So if you're doing some things in person and you want to load them into the platform, you can do that. You can send out emails to people who have actually filled out the forms. We can download archives, and we can do some internal evaluation, actually external evaluation as well. You can do this publicly. It's actually pretty cool. We can collect payments for our forms or our submissions, and we can also do public voting, which I guess I just mentioned, and automation. Okay, so then should you choose tier 1, 2, or 3? Well, just look at how many users you need, 3, 12, or 20, and whether or not you want white labeling and a custom domain. The messaging is also included at tier 2 that basically gives you a little box on your forms that people can click a button and then send your team a message. So that's available on tier 2 and above. Nothing would really stop you from just dropping your email. So if you're price sensitive and you don't want any of the extra features, you're okay with these lower limits, you could probably get by with tier 1 and just, include your email in a contact link, something like that. Okay, so this is the admin area, and this is where you can create your programs. Now, programs is one of those French words that I think could be translated better into something like portal or form or contest, submission area. Any of those would probably be more clear than program. I think I spent probably 5 or 10 minutes when I first got this tool just trying to figure out what exactly a program was. But if you just dive in, hit create a program, you're going to figure out pretty quickly. So to get started here, I can go from 0 or from a model. So basically you can start from scratch or you can choose a template. So let's go ahead and look at their templates. That'll give you some ideas for how you could actually use this system. So we've got call for ideas, hackathon. Maybe you're going to be hosting a hackathon and you want people to submit their submissions through the hackathon. This would be a great platform for that. A residency program, so you're applying for something. A scholarship, again, applying for something. A trophy, you have a contest, you're trying to award someone as the winner here. You can see even some of the names of the templates are a little bit confusing. Like this program template is called program. And if you read the description, it's for green technologies. So yeah, just some kind of weird stuff shuffled in. Also some broken images, which they should get fixed because that's not a good look at all. But let's go ahead and we'll just choose one of these. How about this one here? It says, I think it's supposed to be prize, but they misspelled it here in the translation. So I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna create a prize. I'll say my LTD prize. Great, and hit continue. Now this opens me up into the actual project area where I can create the overall form. So first, what we should do is see what that's going to look like. Now, I do need to publish this before I can show it to you. So you can see this button here, it says offline, and if I hover over it, it says publish. Not great UX here. It should, probably say unpublished, and that would give me the indicator that I could then click on it to publish. But now it is published, and I can click over here to view it. And here is our contest. Now, it says the little description up here, my LTD prize. I can customize all of this, by the way, the image and the little description down here. We've got some tabbed content to explain what the contest is all about, or the prize. The FAQ section, we can edit all of this as well. Very simple to do so. We can change the language on these buttons as well. So it says I'm taking part. Maybe you want to say join or submit, something like that. So application form, and then I click on that and it gives me the description of the application form. And then I actually have to click again to get into the form itself, or it says reduce thumbnail over here. And if I click that, it minimizes again. So you can see all sorts of just language and usability issues, but I promise you the underlying function is like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty cool and useful. So let's get into that. We'll open up the actual form itself, and you can see we've got 4 steps here. It makes it very clear at the top. Over to the left, we've got a very long form. We can customize this as our heart's content. There's lots of different fields available. We can do form fills, we can do file submissions, we can do URLs, we can do addresses, multi-select. You can choose whatever you need for your submission. Over on the right here, it tells me how I'm doing in terms of completing my form. I can jump to any of the sections, like if I want to go to my address, I can jump right to that. Here is that send a message button. Remember, this is only available on tier 2 and above. I'm using tier 2 to make this video just so I could see what that was all about. And then up here, we can invite a team member. So if you were maybe putting together a contest that involves multiple people working together, you can invite team members to be able to, work collaboratively to fill out this form or to complete the program or whatever we're going to call it. Okay, so this is step 1. If we go over to step 2, it's essentially like another form. So here it's asking me if I have team members. I'm going to say no. And then I can go to step number 3. There is a next button down here at the bottom, by the way. So I can go to step number 3. And then here I can fill out the project information. This would be like my actual submission, right? So my description of the project, why my application is relevant. I could do some more file submissions here, maybe multiple file submissions, and then confirm that everything here is accurate. And then I can go ahead. And the last step here is just to overview or a review of everything you've already submitted, making sure that you've done it correctly. So I can see steps 1 and 3, I didn't finish. So it's letting me know that. And I could go back and correct it if I wanted to. Okay, so let's jump back into the admin area and we can see how all of that comes together. Now, before we get in too deep here, I want to mention that they've got these little helper messages, which at first I was like, oh, that's nice. It's a little tutorial of how to actually use the platform. Well, first of all, if I click on this, a lot of the times this is not the most helpful information. And often it's even in French. I'm not sure if this one is.
How to analyze the statistic of my dashboard.
Okay, so this one is not in French, but it can be such a heavy, thick accent that it almost feels like they're speaking French sometimes. Like it just like dips in for a moment and then comes back out into English, which I'm not trying to, rag on them. It's great that they're trying to reach an American audience, but it does need probably a little bit of polish. They might just want to hire someone to do videos for them because it is a little bit hard to follow for sure. And also I've become so accustomed to a close modal at the top of the screen. I think I spent 2 or 3 minutes trying to figure out how to close this. There's a little button in the lower left-hand corner that slides it in. So just FYI. The other thing is it feels like these just never go away. These little helper messages, like you can close it and then you go to a different screen and here's another helper message. And if you go back to that screen, it just comes right back, even if you close it. Eventually they do seem to go away. Like the one on the dashboard is not reappearing, but I probably closed it 3 or 4 times. So just a little bit of a nuisance, but not the end of the world for sure. It's nice that they have the helpers, but just be a little bit less helpful. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. We created our template and we want to customize it for submissions. The first thing you'll actually want to do is go down here to configuration and then go to presentation. Under presentation, you're going to see all of those options on that initial screen. This one right here, where we've got the little overview of what the contest or the application is all about. I can change the description right here. I can choose the time zone, change my hero image, and then down below, I can go ahead and customize all of those different tabbed areas where we have the presentation. Remember the FAQ. Let's hit the pencil icon here and you can see the editor for the FAQ. Pretty smooth. We've got the question. I can hit the edit button and just enter in the answer right there. So yeah, very simple user interface for editing content. No complaints there. Now, as far as the actual form goes, there's a couple components here. So under configuration and then course, we've got our application form right here. If I click on the pencil icon for this, I can change a lot of the language. So application form and I'm taking part. That is this language right here, application form and I'm taking part. So you can customize that. We can also add a start and end date for our form. We can give it a short description, and then you can rearrange the steps of the form itself. If you remember, I filled out the general information. I was asked the team members question. Then I went into the project information before reviewing my final submission. So I could change the order of these if I wanted to, or add an additional step in. You can also limit the number of responses, set a max number of applications per respondent. So maybe people can only apply once. That is the default setting, by the way. And you can turn on and off team participation if you don't want to allow for people to fill out forms together. Now, the form itself, all the questions in the form, those are accessible right over here where it says forms. So I'll click on that. And here are the 3 forms. I can open them up, edit them. And it's a very simple drag and drop builder here. I can add in a yes or no question, or maybe a table. You get the idea, a lot of different questions. There's even some separators, so you can go ahead and add in different headings, maybe embed a video, anything you need to do, it's available. They do let you preview this in desktop as well as mobile view, so it looks really good on both platforms. Something like the table is gonna be a little bit trickier, obviously on desktop, or on mobile, but it does still work. It has a little, you can swipe left to right. And if you want to add another step in, you can create a form here, but you'll still need to go back over to the configuration screen to make sure it actually gets added into your course or whatever we're going to call it. You can also accept payments as part of your form. To do this, go over to the payments section, go down to configurations, and then set up either Stripe or PayPal. And you can even choose proof of payment. This is a procedure to confirm that payments have been made outside of the Win.io platform. An idea that comes to mind here would be maybe you're offering bonuses for someone who bought on another platform, or maybe they bought like a hardcover book that you're selling. Maybe you're an author and you want to give out some bonuses. Well, you could require proof of payments in order to allow them access to maybe an audiobook version or a bonus video, something like that. All right, so at this point, we've loaded in our template, we've customized it, and we're ready to start receiving submissions. Submissions on this platform are called deposits. So deposits right up here, we'll be able to see everybody who has filled out our form. Right now, it's just me. I've begun. It says status in progress. And this is actually pretty nice that it was able to pick up me just loading up the page, typing in a few things, and now I'm saved in this in progress status. We can actually filter through who is currently working on their form and who has finalized it right here. Now, you can also send emails to people who are either in progress or completed their form. Just go ahead and check the little box right here, and then we can go ahead and send an email right here. So when I choose send an email, it's going to give me a choice between 3 different templates. These are templates they built for us, but don't worry, of course, we can add our own. This could be something like a reminder, like, hey, you started this application, make sure you complete it. Or maybe everything's done and you want to send out the results. You'll be able to do that as well. The emails live right over here. We've got a list of the template emails. Of course, I could create a new one or open up an existing template and edit it. It does let you use tokenized data. So if you want to have, hey, John, hey, Sally, whatever you want to fill in the first name here, you can do that, as well as the program title. Here's all of the dynamic data that is available. There's quite a bit. Almost everything that the user might submit is available as dynamic data. I mean, it's a ton. Like, despite the language barrier here, this is definitely a powerhouse tool. There is a lot going on under the hood. Okay, so maybe you don't want to trigger emails manually. Well, you can do that in an automation. Right here under automations, we can go ahead and create an automation rule. By the way, it does also integrate with Zapier if you want, but there's a pretty full-featured automation sequence builder right here. Just go ahead and hit add a rule. And like every automation, we need a trigger and then an action. So Let's say someone has their response validated, meaning they've gone all the way through the process. And at that point, you want to send them an email. So here is the trigger. We can add an operation. It will be an action, and it could be to send an email. Then I can just choose one of the templates and I'm good to go. Of course, you could also send a Slack notification or add a tag to the user if you wanted to. There's a lot of options here. This is a pretty nice automation builder considering this is basically a form submission tool. Okay, remember this send a message button? Well, those messages will go into the backend right over here where it says messaging. This is only available for tier 2 and above. Otherwise, you'll have to include maybe your public email or something listed there. But yeah, that's what the messaging is all about. There's only a few other features here to talk about. We've got evaluations. This is judging, right? So let's say you're doing a contest for something. We could create a evaluation procedure here. I can create a new session. This can either be internal or it can be public where people can actually vote. Let's check out a public one. I'll just call it test and we'll hit continue. Now for the voting, what you're going to want to do is go over to deposits. Remember that is submissions. You can look through the submissions and then make them available for evaluation. So I'm just going to choose my half-baked response here. I'll add it to the exam session. Go ahead and hit continue. And now it's listed here. All I need to do is go over to settings, add in some presentation text, choose the start and end date. I can change the design icon if I want to heart it or star it or thumbs up it. And then I can go ahead and publish this. It says publish session, yes. Oh, I've got to do one thing here. What is it? Complete all required fields. All right, I didn't change anything. I just hit publish again. This time it worked. Now I can copy this link and we can see what the voting looks like. So here we go. Now this obviously looks blank because I didn't submit anything. But if I wanted to vote for this, I can simply click on it, choose vote for this project, and then I can go ahead and validate my vote, which basically will send me an email and then I get the little 6-digit code. I'm already logged in, so I don't have to do this. But if you did it in a private window, you just have to verify that you actually are a human with an email address in order for your vote to count. Also, back on the submission page, if we go out to the main view here, it's going to now show the voting right here. It's under event. So we've got event for voting and then course for actually submitting. All right, so we'll start to wrap this thing up here. We've got activity logs. We can see everything that has happened on the platform. We've got export tracking. What this is all about is if you're actually going through the process of sending in a submission, I'm taking part, I can actually download my submission. Maybe I did a really good job and I wrote some nice prose here and I want to download it. I can choose download right here. We go back over to the screen. You can see this now has updated. It's in progress. It's getting that download together for me. If we sit here for just a moment, it's 90%. It should actually switch over to be 100%. There we go. And my download has started. So that's pretty cool how the export works. And I can see who has exported their content. That's helpful. I mentioned in the intro that you can actually import submissions via CSV. That's just done under configuration and then import of deposits. There's also galleries, which is very cool. So if you wanted to just display some of the submissions, you can create a gallery here, very much like the evaluation, except obviously no judging here. We'll just call this test. And then you do the exact same process. You choose the respondents that you want to display in the gallery, add it to the gallery. Then you can go ahead, move over to settings, publish your gallery. You'll get a link. You can display that and you'll be able to see everybody who has already submitted. Yeah, so that is Win.io. It's definitely an interesting platform. What they really probably need to do is just hire someone who speaks both French and English to just go through the entire application and make it a little bit more user-friendly and update some of that user-facing language to be very clear to the average person. But I could definitely see this tool coming in handy for, let's say nonprofits or charity organizations that want to take submissions. Heck, even youth sports, those types of organizations can spend thousands and thousands of dollars per year just taking registration and registration fees. You could buy this for a one-time price and really slash the cost of actually running the entire administration because you don't have to pay all these fancy sports management tools, which are just kind of ridiculous. There's a lot of random use cases. I bet churches could make use of this as well. So let me know what you think of Win.io in the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a final score here. But before I do, I wanna remind you to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this content. All right, so Win.io, I like this tool, but it obviously needs to get a little bit of polish in order for it to compete in the modern era of software. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5.9 out of 10. That's all for today. If you've enjoyed this video, check out my AppSumo link in the description to help support this content. Leave me a comment, even just for the algorithm, and I'll see you in the next review.